Welcome to this video lecture series. I am Amya Kumar Das. I teach in the Department of Sociology at Tezpur University. Today, this lecture which we are going to discuss will be useful for the students, those who have enrolled in the open and distance learning mode. Other students, those who are preparing for various kind of competitive examination, this lecture will be useful. Today, in this session, we will discuss this modernization theory or modernization approach to development. In various kind of theories of development, that generally we discuss modernization theory, because this is you can call it a kind of assemblies or mixture of various theories, or because we do not have a particular theory or a theory for modernization approach or modernization theory, but it is a kind of combination of various kind of ideas and concepts, those who argue for this development from a modernization perspective. So mostly people use that Americanization or Westernization or Europeanization interchangeably with the idea of modernization. But what is modernization? Modernization is a kind of process through which we are becoming modern. To be modern in philosophy, cultural studies, sociology, literary studies, and other disciplines, they broadly look at the whole idea or concept of modern through few parameters, like the change in attitude, thinking, rationality, liberty, reason. But one of the most important markers of modernity or being modern is freedom. That freedom is essential to the whole idea of modernity. So in this context, whatever perspectives are useful to understand modernization theory to development or to understand development, we will briefly discuss in today's lecture. M.J. Levy argues that over the period of time, the developed and the less developed will increasingly resemble with one another because of the patterns of modernization push towards resemblance with one another. Encyclopedia Britannica mentions that modernizations in a sociological sense refers to the transformation from traditional rural agrarian society to a more secular urban industrial society. Modern society is linked to the emergence of industrial society. As we all know, sociology is originated in the backdrop of modernity. So, in a way, the baggage of positivism or the natural science, the positivism or the positivist approach to understand social reality was there. The founding father of sociology, like Auguste Comte, who followed physics and tried to establish sociology in that model, where he coined sociology as social physics. As it was plagiarized by somebody else, then he was forced to change the name from social physics to sociology. So we can well imagine how the positivist thinking or positivism had like strong imprint in the forerunners of sociology, those who tried to establish sociology in a positivist manner. Modernization theory was developed by a number of social thinkers during the period 1950s and 1960s. According to Essinger, modernization theory refers to a model. In this system, it is measured whether societies are similar or not to the model of modern industrial society. But Husserl explains on the efficiency of the division of labor and writes that a society on a low level of economic development is therefore one in which productivity is low because division of labor is little developed. In a way, both Smelser and Rostow attempted to provide more general perspectives in the analysis of development. Like in most of the discussions or the debate regarding the modernity, essentially we see there has been a mention of tradition. We look at tradition and modernity in a comparative manner. We look at tradition vis-a-vis modernity. So essentially, when you look at the whole idea of modernization as a changing process, we compare the earlier condition and then we look at our future. So the Western countries, the European countries, they suggested that through the modernization, if you adopt this modernization process, if you want to develop, if you want to become modern, then you have to follow certain paths, certain steps, certain procedure so that you can be modern. They suggested that the third world countries, so-called developing or underdeveloped countries, should look at the developed or the Western countries as a future of their own, like a mirror, that they could see the future of their own image in these Western countries or European countries or American. So always there was a kind of contradiction, contestation and negotiation between these two, like tradition and modernity, how one would proceed from the traditional to the modern. And there has been a discussion, continuous dialogue through how one can develop. In this context, W.W. Rostow, who suggested and proposed the 5 stages of economic growth. The title of his book was The Stages of Economic Growth, a Non-Communist Manifesto. There he suggested there are 5 stages. There are 5 stages through which a country can achieve development, right, or become modern. The first one is traditional society, then precondition to take off, number 2, number 3, take off, then number 4 is the drive towards maturity, and number 5 is the age of high mass consumption. So he suggests that if a country can follow all these 5 steps, then it can achieve the status or it can be a developed country, like many Western European countries or America is now developed. So number 1, that is the traditional society. Traditional society was the first stage which had limited production functions, primitive technology, and limited economies to the agricultural level. Traditional society is generally understood in a way that W.W. Rostow has suggested 5 stages where these the underdeveloped countries can follow that path and they can also develop themselves like the Western European countries or the United States of America. We have seen how there is a binary between this tradition and modernity, and how a country can develop itself by taking few measures and conditions like W. Rostow has suggested. As I have already mentioned that how he suggested through 5 stages one can develop. The number 1 is the traditional society. Traditional society is the society, it is the first stage where there will be limited production functions, there will be primitive technologies, and the attitudes towards the physical world is spiritual. So these placed kind of spirituality and this kind of belief in supernatural power, this placed a ceiling on productivity and limited economies to the agricultural level. Then comes the number 2, preconditions for takeoff. It is constituted as the second universal historical stage. These preconditions are based on the way that this is the second stage according to him, and it is in the Western Europe during 17th and early 18th century. The insights of modern science were translated into new production functions in agriculture and both in industry. More machinery were used, like earlier times labor power was used, more machinery were used. So during the preconditional phase, education expanded, then new kinds of people came forward, that banks, then investment, then commerce, transaction, market, manufacturing plants, all these came up. The second stage is preconditions for takeoff. It is the precondition of takeoff. It is in 17th and 18th century in Europe. Like the technology developed, people started taking this technology into the field of agriculture. Agriculture system was improved, and then the brute labor force. Earlier, people used to work in the factory or in the mines. The brute labor force could be channelized through the use of technology and machine. Then in this stage that banks were introduced, market became developed. Along with the market and bank, the education system also improved. The education system also improved. So many new kind of people could come forward and join the development process. So this is termed as the second stage, that is the precondition to take off. Then the number 3 is takeoff, and it is the third stage when blockages and resistance to steady. Number 3, takeoff was the third stage when blockages and resistance to steady growth were finally overcome. During takeoff, the rate of effective investment rose from 5% of the national income to 10% or more. New industries expanded, profits were plowed back, urban industrial employment were increased, the class of entrepreneurs expanded, new techniques spread usually from industry to agriculture, and in a decade or two, the social and political structure of society were transformed so that steady economic growth could be sustained. Then comes number 4, the stage number 4 is drive towards maturity. In this stage, almost a country is ready for development, where we have more advanced level of technology, like developed form of schools and colleges, research institutions, market which fairly good. Then the country develops its internal security mechanism. They are democratically little bit more stable than the earlier stages, and so on and so forth. In number 5, or the last stage according to the Rostow's model, was this age of high mass consumption. In this stage, what happens? The final stage of growth, he proposes that in the age of high mass consumption, the final stage where the leading industrial sectors become durable, consumer goods and services and real income, it rose to a level permitting a large number of people to consume at levels far in excess of needs. The structure of the workforce changed toward the urban skilled and office types of employment. Western societies at this level might choose to allocate increased resources to social welfare and social security. In this condition, the final stage of growth, then society, as Rostow is suggesting, moves towards, the state moves towards more welfare measure, where they can allocate more funds for the welfare mechanism, where they can allocate more development for the society, for the community, for the people, where they can take their potentialities into a different and the essentially into a productive manner. There, because here state also earns revenue in the form of taxes, the state become richer. So in this context, what we could see that throughout this process of involvement, throughout the process of the engagement, and over the period how the 5 stages a state finally has, or the country will achieve its development model through these 5 stages of growth what Rostow has suggested. And critique also, they have criticized Rostow's model, saying that he has suggested it is a unilinear model, as if there will be no disturbances, there will be no other way through which a country can achieve its growth or development. Then comes the modernity and development in the context of tradition and modernity. The social theorists, they have developed the whole idea of modernity by looking at the tradition. Classical sociologists like Weber, Durkheim, they have also adopted the idea how a traditional society becomes developed or become advanced. Let us look at the main features of traditional and modern societies according to the sociologists, those who have developed. Specifically in traditional society, traditional values are dominant in such societies. People are accustomed to the ways that they have been practicing since the past, thereby lack of ability to adjust new circumstances. Kinship system determines the social practices and it controls all relationships, economic, political or legal. People in such traditional society are emotional and superstitious, and they accept the things they are without changing their age-old practices and beliefs. But on the other hand, modern society exhibits mostly the opposite characteristics to the traditional society. Such society, though there may be traditions, the people do not adhere to them religiously, and they may change them if they feel that such tradition is impeding the process of continued progress. The kinship system does not play a very crucial role in it, as kinship ties often get weakened owing to geographical and social mobility. Beside an individual's position in the social, political, and economic arena, this aspect is achieved through ability and hard work. Means respect is achieved through ability and hard work. People in modern society are rational, innovative, and have a scientific approach, and they are ready to do away with old beliefs and practices that may get in the way of progress. So, if we look at the whole idea of modernity and development, they are very closely related in the sociological literature, that the traditional element may be removed so that the society can be developed. Cat Willis explains that for many people, the ideas of development are linked to the concept of modernity. Because of the social, economic, political, and cultural dynamism, what is modern will change over time and also spatially. What is modern in one place may be old-fashioned elsewhere. However, more specifically, modernity has been used as a term to describe particular forms of economy, society based on the experience of Western Europe and recently the United States of America. In economic terms, modernity encompasses industrialization, urbanization, and the increased use of technology within all sectors of the economy. Willis therefore argues that for some people, the diffusion of modernity is interpreted as development and progress, while for others it is associated with the eradication of cultural practices, destruction of natural environments, and a decline in the quality of life. So, if we look at the critique of the modernization approach, we can see that there are many strong critiques, mostly in the form of post-developmentalist approach, have emerged in the field of sociology of development. Basically, a society can follow the traditional ethos and still they can be modern. Like Japan, if we take the example of Japan and China, they are still following many traditional practices. At the same time, they have shown the essence or element of modernity. And this dichotomy of tradition and modernity doesn't work if we look at the whole idea of development in a meaningful way. So here in this context, it can be argued that modernization theory is one way of looking at the whole idea of development, but what we have understood from the previous lectures, previous sessions, that modernity has its own drawbacks, fallacy, and it has its own consequences. So, as Anthony Giddens and Ulrich Beck, they have suggested us to be more reflexive and critical and follow the path of development by analyzing the positives and the negatives of any process or anything which we are going to adopt. We have to be very careful. So, in this today's lecture, what we have discussed, that how modernization approach or modernization theory could be used to look at the whole idea of development under this subdiscipline of sociology of development. Thank you.